I am back. It's been a little while since I did an unboxing video. I did do a short today for the YouTube channel, which is kind of linked to this video. But I am back to actually unbox the set that I was showing off earlier. Now what we've got here is a 3-disc set from Studiocanal. It is the 4K of Luc Besson's Subway, the 1985 movie. This set came out end of June, like 23rd of June 2025. So I am a few days late at doing this unboxing. Unfortunately, it went to an old address, so there was a few days before I had to get over there to pick it up. But you don't need to hear all that crap, do you? What you want to hear about and see is this set any good? If you're not familiar with the film Subway, and I wasn't, I'm going to be using a little bit of trickery in this video to sort of not only show you what you get in the set, but also to give you a little bit of a review and my thoughts on some of the features and the film itself. Now I remember Subway coming out in the mid-80s. This was a year before Highlander. This was before Luc Besson would then go on to do films like Nikita and then The Fifth Element, which would be many, many years later. This was actually his second film, which apparently his first one was The Last Battle, but Subway was written before The Last Battle, so it's a bit of a juggly around sort of time scale with that one. Subway, I remember seeing the image in magazines. It was kind of like a play on this one. There is an iconic shot in the film where he's walking down Subway with this glow stick, and it's a really cool arty looking shot. That was the shot I always saw in magazines. It doesn't really tell me much about the film though, so it never hooked me in. I never felt the need to, I need to check that film out. Of course, a year later, Highlander comes out, big film, and so that one I did check out. But Subway was always a film that I never really went back and caught up on. Too many films, not enough time. However, I have now caught up on Subway. So what we're going to do, rather than me giving you like a thesis on this 1985 film, I'm going to open the set. It comes encased in cellophane. And let's do that. Taking off cellophane is quite easy, but if you've got your hands either side of a tripod, it gets a little bit tricky sometimes. I don't want to knock a tripod over. So what we get here is the Steelbook itself, and it is also encased in a fully detached cardboard sleeve with all the information in there. Doesn't have the sticky dots, so you can't really put it back on again, and it does make it a bit awkward if you want to stand it up on a shelf. But if it's encased with other Blu-rays, you're good to go. Let's put the cardboard to one side for now. Two sides to the cover. We get this gentleman here, who I now know as the Roller, having now seen the film. And then on the other side we get Christophe Lambert, who plays Fred. Now, Fred is a bit of a burglar. He ends up doing a sort of impromptu burglary, goes on the run from some dodgy henchmen, and ends up hiding out in the Paris metro station. This is where he meets lots of strange characters, including a drummer played by Jean Reno, a bass guitarist played by Eric Serra, who would go on to do the music not only for Subway, but would also go on to do a lot of music for other Luc Besson films, and who also, I believe, he did the music for GoldenEye, the James Bond one. So it's nice to see Eric Serra sort of doing an acting role. He's probably playing himself, to be fair, in a very early film. But anyway, enough about the film for the minute. So what we get here is the Steelbook, solid. Let's open it up there. It just sort of, it cracks open, just like most Steelbooks do. And then in here we get 3 discs. Now we do, let me just take, right, let's do this in this order. So disc number 1 is the 4K disc. Now the 4K disc, the film runs for 102 minutes, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. The film has the feature film, so on the 4K disc we get the film, and it also says special features. But there is only one special feature on this disc, but it is a good one. It's one I've not watched yet, but it is an 18-minute making of Subway, and it is also a new making of. It's not something that's been out before. On the second disc is the regular Blu-ray. This replicates the 4K one, other than the 4K part, so we get the feature film and we get the 80-minute making of Subway. And then on the final disc, which you can see is behind one of these ones, so it's not in any danger of falling out. However, when you do take the disc out, make sure you're very careful, because you don't want to snap either the case or the disc. So this is the disc where the special features are housed. Now, looking at the list, there's only 5 special features. However, what we do get is a reasonable bunch of featurettes that add up to 112 minutes of featurettes. So they range from 18 minutes for some interviews up to 30 minutes for some others. So you are getting like 1 hour 52 minutes of special features on this disc alone. And then obviously if you pack into that the 80-minute documentary, you're getting well over 3 hours of making ofs about this wonderful, weird and bonkers film. And it is a weird and bonkers film. Have you ever watched a film where once you're watching it, you're not sure if you're enjoying it or not? You know you're not disliking it, but you're not quite sure if you're into it. You're not quite sure what's going on in a lot of places. But you persevere because you go, do you know what? I've got like an hour left. I've got 20 minutes left. I've got 50 minutes left or whatever. And then you get to the end of it and you go, I'm going to let it fester in my brain for a few hours. Well, I let this one fester in my brain for a few hours and I've decided I really like Subway. It's weird. The characters are just bonkers. It's very French, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it's a really arty, but not too arty, crazy, but not too crazy, surreal, but not David Lynchian surreal film. The characters are the sort that will sit in your head for quite a while to come, and then sometimes you'll think, do you know what, I want to revisit that and I want to go spend some more time with Fred or Roller or John Reno, the drummer, and of course you'll revisit the wonderful world of Subway. So if you've not seen it before, it is worth picking up, and it is worth picking up in this edition. I watched the 4K edition. The 4K looks great. It is a relatively low budget film, I believe, which made quite a lot of money apparently in 1985, and the 80s were, you know, big box office years. But just for some reason, this one just slipped under the radar. But it clearly didn't slip under the radar too much, because here we are in 2025. Studiocanal have released this wonderful 3-disc set. There's nearly 2 hours worth of extra features on one disc, and then the hour and 20 on the other. So it's 3 hours plus of diving back into this world of Subway, finding out how the film was made. And it's also really interesting going back to Luc Besson's career before he did Nikita, before he did, you know, he was involved in Taxi, before he did The Fifth Element. It's nice going back to his early days. So I do highly recommend you do check this film out. It's probably not for everybody, but I enjoyed it. And I can now tick it off my list and go, I have finally seen a film that I have never seen in decades, and it was good. It was a wonderful way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Have you seen Subway? What's your thoughts? Are you going to pick it up? Are you a Christophe Lambert completist? He is really cool and weird and sort of punk rock type in this. He's great. And then a year later he would go to play Connor MacLeod, chopping off heads and chasing Kurgans. So let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would love you to. I'm trying to get my numbers up and trying to hit that old monetization thing. Huge thanks to Studiocanal for releasing this wonderful set, and I look forward to what they have got coming out next.